Philadelphia Flyers. They were sixth in the Metro last year. They were in a playoff spot almost the whole season.
Yeah.
Dropped out at the last minute.
That's heartbreaking.
Their underlying numbers were pretty awesome, actually. They were ninth in Corsi for percentage, 12th in expected goals for percentage, and fourth in scoring chances for percentage at even strength. Their 5v5 save percentage was last in the league, 32nd at 885. That was a tough situation, just with Carter Hart leaving the team in disgrace, and then Sam Urson getting forced into a starter's role. Maybe wasn't really ready for it, especially not as a volume starter, and probably got overplayed. But just because they had no other choice. Their 5v5 shooting percentage was also 29th in the league at 8.06. So yeah, I mean, this is a team that generates a lot, but a lot of puck chuckers on this team. A lot of guys that are not high efficiency shooters. So definitely something to be wary of. And then their power play percentage was last as well at 12.2%. So you're just not gonna succeed when your power play is converting only at 12%.
That's really one of the big reasons I'm pretty much fading a lot of these Flyers. I don't know if I'll have many Flyers on any of my teams. That power play is just brutal.
Yeah. So I mean, you gotta hope that they're gonna turn it around at least a little bit. There is enough talent on this team.
Yeah.
I still maintain that I mean, there's got to be more in the tank than a last place power play here. Their key departures: Cam Atkinson, Ryan Johansson, who got his contract terminated just recently, and Mark Stahl. Johansson didn't even play a game for the team, so I don't even know if you could count him as a departure.
There's a lot of rumors from his time in the Predators that he was just like a fucking goofball, and then when he went to the Avalanche, there's some more rumors. Hearsay, you can't always believe it, that McKinnon wasn't a fan of his antics and how unserious he was. So it kind of, it tracks. It tracks that he faked an injury so he wouldn't have to play for the Flyers. But again, it's just hearsay, right?
It definitely tracks. It does seem like there is an overwhelming amount of people that are saying that he's kind of just a piece of shit. So
PC boy too.
I don't know. Like, I mean, you can't believe everything anyone says, but when it's almost everybody.
Where there is smoke, there could be some fire.
Maybe there's some smoke here, yeah. And then key additions. It's not really an addition because he was already a draft pick, but Matvei Michkov is coming over from the KHL. That is a huge addition to this team.
I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. So in terms of goaltending, I mean, you gotta hope it gets better. But in terms of personnel, you've got Sam Urson, who had 49 starts last year and 899 even strength save percentage, and then Ivan Fedotov, who came over from Russia, had only one start, just 3 appearances at the end of the year, 833 even strength save percentage. That's a really small sample size, and obviously he was in an unenviable position.
Yeah.
So you gotta hope. He's a pretty highly touted goalie, so that's a guy that could provide some value.
He's huge.
Both of these guys are 0G targets, definitely. Just because Philly creates like a pretty good defensive scenario for goalies, but they gotta perform, right? They gotta they gotta make some stops. And then schedule quirks: 13 back-to-backs. That's tied for 11th. 22 off nights, tied for 27th, so not a ton of off nights there for Philly. Their playoff schedule also not very good. Weeks 22 to 24, they only have 9 games and 3 off nights, and then 23 to 25, 10 games, 3 off nights. That's one of the worst. In both of those scenarios, that's around the worst. So
I feel like really, they're always bad with playoff. They never have a good playoff schedule.
Yeah, and they don't play a ton of off nights typically. So not really a team that has like where you want to be reaching on players just because their schedule just isn't that great. Like you want sure things on this team. There are a few, and we'll look at their power play. If they load up the power play, obviously Tortorella. I mean, I don't love the way that he deploys the power play, but I think they should really be loading it up. And if they do, it's got to be Konecny. Morgan Frost, in my opinion, should be there. Owen Tippett, Matvei Michkov, and then either Jamie Drysdale or Cam York. That's how I've projected this to go. I think there will be a bit of power play share there, just because, I mean, they play both units relatively evenly, but they lean a little bit more on the top power play. But yeah, I mean, it's still not a great outlook. I do think Michkov probably improves that power play even just by himself. Just because he's such a highly touted guy. Like he's one of the top prospects in the NHL. Like honestly,
there's a lot of hype around
Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini. Like he may even win the Calder this year. Like there's potential for that. I think that there's certainly some concern just because of the way Tortorella treats young players.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
That his upside is curbed just by time on ice and opportunity. But I do think he's a good enough player.
Absolutely,
that he'll still produce a decent amount.
His ADP is a steal too for a prospect with such a ceiling. Yeah,
I 100% agree. So let's go into the forward projection. So Sean Couturier, I've got him for 25 goals, 22 assists, 47 points. I think his role is diminishing a little bit with this team. Obviously, there's the very public disagreements between him and Tortorella with the healthy scratches, and I mean, he just struggled last year. He just wasn't the same player. So, but I still see him being one of the top centers on the team. I just don't see him getting as much opportunity as he would have in the past, like in terms of offensive situations. Tyson Forster, I've got him for 19 goals, 19 assists, 38 points. He's a young guy that probably has a little bit more offensive upside than that. But again, they're probably going to roll the lines 5v5, and unless he gets power play time, which he did last year, there is certainly potential there. But I just don't see him having massive point totals next year. Travis Konecny. Let's talk about Travis Konecny for a second. I've got him for 36 goals, 45 assists, 81 points. This guy produces. And this is a more bullish projection than I think the other guys have for Konecny, but he does seem to produce no matter who he plays with. The other factor is Tortorella clearly likes him, and he plays him a shit ton. He's one of his boys. So his Apples and Geno's ADP is 48. Yahoo, it's 74. So there's some really nice value there in Yahoo leagues for Travis Konecny. He's also right wing eligible, which is a position of scarcity. So that is certainly something to be considered as well. So I'm a big Travis Konecny guy. What do you think about Konecny?
I love the dude. For the past 2-3 years, he's been taken at absolute value. I see that you're bullish. I'm wondering, are you bullish because you expect the power play to positively regress? Last place, I'm sure you are.
So I mean, I do have some. I did. I did improve the power play in my projections a little bit. Partially because of Michkov. I think that is going to make a bit of a difference, and the quality of chances are probably going to be better. And I mean, but I don't know. It's one of those things. It's so volatile, just with the way that Tortorella deploys things. That I mean,
he's a wild
it's
card.
probably more bullish than I'm probably more bullish on some of these guys than I should be. Another guy is Morgan Frost. I have him for 18 goals, 43 assists, 61 points, primarily because he's playing on the power play. And I do see a scenario where you have a young-ish line of Morgan Frost, Owen Tippett, and Matvei Michkov at 5v5. That could be really interesting. So I think Morgan Frost probably reaps the benefits of playing with those two guys. Owen Tippett, I've got him for 31 goals, 33 assists, 65 points. His Apples and Geno's ADP is 67.6, and Yahoo is 72.6. That's probably right around where you should be taking Owen Tippett in like Bangers Cats leagues. He's a low efficiency shooter, but shoots a ton, and he gets some hits too. So really nice peripheral floor for Tippett.
I've noticed that Tippett and Konecny are actually going around the same time. Who would you take? Would you take Konecny before Tippett, the vice versa?
I'd absolutely take Konecny first.
Yeah,
I think the points upside is way higher, and I think Tippett, just he's pretty low efficiency. So I just think that I think the upside for Konecny is higher. I think Tippett fills the categories a little bit more. But I prefer Konecny for sure.
Yeah.
And then Matvei Michkov, really hard to project rookies. So keep that in mind. But I have him for 30 goals, 30 assists, 60 points. And that is fairly bullish as well. His ADP in Apples and Genos is 172, and in Yahoo it's 164. So like you said, that's pretty good value for a guy. That's around the range where you're gonna start taking shots on
take
guys.
Some gambles.
And I think Michkov is probably a guy that is worth at least taking a shot on, even though there is some risk with John Tortorella being the coach. You go ahead.
With there's always risk with Torts, but at that ADP, I'm willing to take that. And I was just gonna say that the last time such a hyped rookie with his first season coming to him at around this like 160ish ADP, that was Kirill Kaprizov, and he had a killer rookie season. It's not fair to compare Michkov to Kaprizov, maybe not yet, but I'm just saying the ceiling might be a little bit similar. We don't know the floor though. That's the question, especially with Tortorella. We don't know the floor. I'm still willing to take that gamble at that ADP.
Yep, that's a great point, man. That's an excellent point. And Kaprizov, love that boy. I love him much.
He's a good guy.
Let's skip. I'm going to skip over Lawton and Farabee just because they're not incredibly fantasy relevant. We'll talk about the defense, which isn't great either. No. I have three guys that could potentially get some offensive opportunity, but again, I mean, you just never know with Torts. Travis Sanheim, I've got him for 9 goals, 26 assists, 35 points, 154 blocks as well. His Yahoo ADP is 162.4. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm high on Sanheim, but that's probably around the range of what you can expect from him.
Yeah,
I'm
fair.
Probably the most. I think I'm pretty confident that is around what you're going to get out of him. Whereas with Cam York and Jamie Drysdale, I just don't really know. York, I have him for 8 goals, 29 assists, 37 points, 156 blocks. I see him and Drysdale probably sharing time on the top power play. And then Drysdale, I have at 8 goals, 32 assists, 40 points. I have him getting a little bit more time, although there's really no reason for me to expect that. So it's a tough one to project these Flyers.
Well, Drysdale, I mean, he has been a pretty highly touted prospect. It's just Torts. he doesn't get 100% of the power play share. They mix and match things, but if anyone, I'd want Drysdale out of all these three, and even then, he's on a short leash on my teams.
Yeah, 100%. Like you're picking all these guys at the end of the draft anyway.
Totally.
So So those are guys that I would punt probably. Like I'm probably not drafting any of them. But in terms of sleepers, I've got Michkov and Morgan Frost for the reasons that I mentioned prior. And my top 3 targets are Travis Konecny, Owen Tippett, Matvei Michkov. Are there any other names that you want to throw on there?
No, that's I agree. Bangers Cats with face off. Give Scott Lawton a try. He's not going to get you points, but he'll be like a Boone Jenner Jr. kind of,
Yeah, like a Boone Jenner light. Yeah,
there you go.
I feel that for sure.